Embark on your civil services journey with Vision IS. Introducing the Delhi GS Foundation Course 2026, turning UPSC dreams into reality. Access interactive learning tools, animations, videos, and an immersive interface. Utilize our tech-enabled student portal for performance tracking and personalized feedback. Stay ahead with daily assignments, weekly mini tests, and monthly revisions. Strengthen your preparation with expert-researched, UPSC pattern study material. Delhi General Studies Foundation Course 2026. Batches start 29th November, 5 p.m., Karol Bagh. 19th November, 9 a.m., Karol Bagh. Take the first step towards success. With Vision IS, success is just a step away.
So we'll talk about now environment, environmental governance. Now environment, when we talk about environmental sustainability, why is it necessary? Why is it necessary? This concept grew prominence only in the last few years, and climate change started occurring. Whether it is in Delhi or others, the number of hot days in a year are increasing. The cold days are decreasing. Greenhouse gases is increasing. Carbon dioxide, which is the main constituent of greenhouse gases, is increasing. Glaciers are melting. Water level in the oceans is rising. Biodiversity is getting affected. Many species are getting extinct. Weathers are changing. Climate is changing. Food, water, potable water is decreasing. Food crisis is coming. All these reasons, things are attributable to the environment. And environment, one of the bodies. How do you change the next? So environmental governance in India. So I'm reminded of a story. Two planets were talking to each other. One was Earth, the other was Mars. So the Mars and Earth, they were talking to each other. Mars was feeling very upset and very morose, thoughtful. So Earth said, "What happened? You seem to be very, very despondent, very, very disturbed." He said, "Let me tell you, I have got this feeling that Homo sapiens are now occupying my Mars." That means, Homo sapiens means, yeah, the people, that is we human beings. So human beings have come to now on the Mars. So Earth said, "Don't worry. They will keep on fighting with each other. Shortly they will be totally extinct. They would have been gone. So it will be a very temporary thing, because Homo sapiens will destroy themselves the way they are destroying Earth. Sooner or later a time will come. So you don't have to worry. They themselves will destruct themselves." And that is precisely what is happening. that we are slowly destroying our Mother Earth. So, nature doesn't require human beings, but human beings require nature. And therefore, if we destroy nature or environment, we will pay a price. Shortly, the natural resources are being, since they are being depleted so fast, that a time will come when our grandsons and great grandsons and future generations, they will blame us that you did not take care, you depleted the natural resources so fast. And maybe a time will come after 100 years or so, there will be a doorbell in a house, it will ring, and the mother will tell the daughter, go, answer the doorbell, our weekly quota of oxygen must have arrived. So that is what is going to happen. We are depleting oxygen because we are burning too much of fuel, the smog, everything, pollution, gas chamber, we are leading to that. Oxygen is getting destroyed, carbon dioxide is increasing. So he said, go and get the quota because we have to breathe now from the oxygen cylinders. That is going to be the fate. And the way we are, nature recuperates itself, it regenerates itself. But the way we are destroying the earth, the speed is much larger than the time it takes to regenerate. So we are not in a position, the nature is not able to regenerate to that extent as we are destroying the natural resources. So with that background, let me start with environmental governance in India. So we talk about environmental governance and in this country. India has a tradition of living in harmony with nature. All our ancient religious books, they talk about harmony. That human beings, animals, birds, trees, they used to live in harmony. Not any longer. And then nature has its way of teaching human beings that they brought through catastrophe. Recently, pandemic, COVID-19. Because we were literally destroying the atmosphere, the animals, and suddenly you found that on the roads the animals were moving, which was a sight never witnessed. You could see the mountains now suddenly. The mountains were not visible because of the pollution. So nature has its own way of taking it back from the human beings. So India has a tradition of living in harmony with nature. Ancient texts like Isha Vasyopanishad highlight sustained development. All Vedas, all Upanishads, but particularly this particular Upanishad that talks about sustainable development. The problem is we human beings think that we are the biggest entity on this earth, the most powerful entity, and we can control everyone else, the animals, the birds. We are the Karta, masters of this universe, and we can control their lives. So it is our economic development is more important, environment is not important. So the development is measured by the GDP increase, the more materialism, more things we produce, more things we spend. So we believe that development means more spending, more producing. But every cloth that we wear requires water. Every crop, every non-vegetarian food requires water. Everything that we produce requires water, and water is shortage. So we don't understand that if we can do with 2 pants and 2 shirts or 2 saris and 2 salwar kameez, we will fill up our entire wardrobe because of a 3-letter word, What's that? A 3-letter word in English which prompts us to become materialistic. Ego. We want to show off on the Facebook. I have brought this particular thing. चाहे उसको बाद में कभी पहने ना पहने, that's another thing. But we will show off on the Facebook. It is ego. What else? Show off. People in this world, many people in this world, they live with minimum resources. They are called as minimalistic. So they believe that we can survive with minimum food, minimum resources, minimum clothes, minimum infrastructure. What is the need for show off? So therefore the environment, ancient texts have been talking about saving, saying that live and let live. Jiyo or jeene do. Sadly, we are not following that principle. So they combine heritage with progress while protecting the environment. So ancient texts, they combine heritage, that the cultural heritage must be protected. The historical heritage must be protected. And with progress while protecting the environment. So therefore, development is important, but not at the cost of environment. One of the greatest environmentalists in this world, who is no more, it was a lady from Africa. She was awarded Nobel Prize for Environment. She said, and the development should not be at the cost of environment. What was the name of that lady? Very famous lady, who was a Nobel Prize winner from Africa. Come on. Wangari Maathai. Wangari Maathai. Okay. So what is environmental governance? Concept in political ecology. You see, that is why we sometimes say we are destroying ecology because of egology. Ego. So we must make a move now from we must transform from egology to ecology, from ego to eco. So, concept in political ecology focusing on sustainability. What is sustainability? Using or utilizing or spending the resources without compromising the interests of your future generations. That is sustainability. So the key elements include stakeholder participation. Again, same thing which we talk about, involve civil society, involve stakeholders. Government alone do not have all the wisdom in this world. You must involve the professors, the scientists, the technical people, having wisdom. So the stakeholders. For example, there have been many agitations. Like Ladakh, there was an agitation led by whom? Wangchuk. Yeah. So the stakeholders must be taken into confidence. In the fight for Lokpal, who is the person? Anna Hazare. So the movements for protection of trees, who was the person? In India, which carried out Chipko movement? Sundarlal Bahuguna. Was it not? Sundarlal Bahuguna? नहीं था? or am I mistaken? Hmm? By whom? Okay, type out on your Google Sundarlal Bahuguna. What did he do? Chipko movement was launched by whom? Maybe, you may be right. Google नहीं चल रहा है यहाँ. Sundarlal. So Sundarlal Bahuguna in Uttarakhand, I think, or Himachal, he launched this Chipko movement. Okay. So many people have been spearheading the various campaigns. There are many NGOs in the environmental sector also, which have been taking the cause of chimpanzee, gorillas, wildlife. So protection of trees, poisoning of seas. In Pacific, there is a big patch. There is a big patch which is littered with bottles, plastic bottles. Yeah, plastic, correct. And so therefore, there are many landfills in Delhi and around Ghazipur and so on. So what is happening is that environmentally, we are having a damage in terms of increase in pollution, increase in garbage, rising of high sea levels, and by virtue of which many countries and cities sooner or later will be submerged. Which is that country which will be the first country to submerge? First country. Maldives will also take place. Which is that first country? No. This country has a population of about 11,000. Already 50% of the population has been shifted to another. It starts with the letter T. T. Name? Continent. That I am not sure. The country is called Tuvalu. 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 That country will be submerged, the first country. And then, of course, the names which you have said, Maldives, and Sundarbans will be inundated, and Chennai and Mumbai, Gujarat coast. So all these. So stakeholder participation. Everyone who is affected by that the voice should be heard. One of the great environmentalists, a girl, who's Greta Thunberg, she spearheaded the campaign. 13-year-old girl. Balanced laws and policies. The laws should be balanced. It should not be tilted in favor of any particular species. So humans should not consider them to be superior race. We should take a worldwide view. Many fishes, they have become extinct. Many birds have become extinct. There used to be a bird called hummingbird, which was a very small bird. Now it is not visible because of radiation from the mobile towers. Yeah. One group of scientists do feel that. Maybe the other one, who is more prone to development, they must be scoffing this off. But radiation emitted from the tower, it is believed that it does definitely leads to problems. Juhi Chawla case. Yeah. That was 5G. That was for 5G. हाँ 5G का था वो. Yeah. हाँ हाँ correct. हाँ. Robo. हाँ 2 point. Yes yes. Yes. It is generally believed that many species they have uh, they have become extinct because of this particular. So balanced laws and policies so that all the inhabitants on this earth, we should have a balanced view, a justice, equity. Number 3, sustainable development. Spending only that much which is necessary. Keeping it some buffer stock for the future generations. And private sector role. In what way the private sector plays a role in environment? Okay. Okay. Yes. All the three, you are right. So CSR, carbon credit, green energy, because government alone cannot do everything. Private sector, you know, there was a time when public sector was launched by the government of India, because in those times when we achieved freedom, remember we achieved freedom on 15th August? Another country also achieved freedom around the same time. Pakistan, 14th August. But look where Pakistan has reached and where we have reached. It is primarily because of the government intervention through the 5-year plans and also the public sector undertakings. So we constructed plants for coal, for steel, electricity, aluminium, everything, the public sector, because private sector was shy to enter that area. They did not have money. They did not want to take risk. They did not want to go to the remotest areas of the country. They were not proving to be the model employer. So the government of India decided that we will invest in the public sector. And that is how in the last journey of 75 years, we have moved so much ahead as compared to Pakistan. So it has played its role. It still is playing its role. Imagine if BSNL was not there, the private operators probably would have exploited the consumer very much. The same thing holds Steel Authority of India, controlling the steel prices. So wherever government intervention is there, it protects. It has a social obligation. Railways. Why do we keep the railway tariff low? Because ultimately it is catering to the people of this country. The social obligation. Everyone cannot travel by air. One has to travel by the cheapest means, and that is provided by the railways. So now the situation has slightly changed. The private sector has also got capital. It has the expertise, and there is a specific law under the Companies Act which provides for CSR, corporate social responsibility. Now the governments have come to realize that there is something called as triple bottom line effect. Triple bottom line effect, which is required to be practiced by every company, whether by the public sector or in the private sector. It is demonstrated by 3 P's, that every company must care for 3 P's. What are the 3 P's? 3 P's. Triple bottom line effect. 3 P's. One is towards the stakeholders like shareholders. One responsibility is towards shareholders, second is towards the society, and third is towards the environment. shareholder, society, environment. This is economic responsibility, economic. This is societal, and this is environmental. Name 3 P's now relating to these 3 topics, 3 important subjects. Yeah. Economic is profit. Social is people. Environment is planet. Profit, people, planet. So now there is a responsibility which has been given to the private sector also to take care of the environment. Okay? Have you understood what I am trying to say? Key principles of environmental governance. Number 1, preventive. So you have to take preventive measures, preventive action. What can be the preventive action? Huh? Yeah, BS norms. Penalty for cutting the trees. That's preventive. You don't cut down the trees. Environmental, you have to take permission after environmental impact assessment, preventive action. So preventive action has to be taken. Number 2, you have to set environmental standards about the air quality, water quality. So you have to set standards. A company which is producing, discharging effluents, you have to set standards that your effluent should not exceed this particular norm. Otherwise it will pollute the water, the air. So the environmental standards. Sustainable management. So the management should be such that it is sustainable over a period of time. Accountability. You hold people responsible. If someone is destroying the Yamuna river bed, you hold him accountable. Who was made accountable, responsible? Art of Living. The NBT passed an order imposing penalty. So you have to accountable. And then economic efficiency. So try to use funds, resources economically. Don't spend. So people start spending too much beyond their means. And in this way, they, what do? Satisfy their ego. And they are a burden on the natural resources, water, air, all the natural resources. So you must have economic spending. So you should be happy with whatever you have got. I remember when I used to go outside on touring very often, and I would ring up my wife and I will say, oh, this thing is beautiful which is available here. He said, no, we have no space in the house. So only bring something which can be accommodated somewhere. And we already have so much. Why do you have to purchase this kind of thing? So one has to be spendthrift. And that is why we sometimes say कि जिस प्रकार से व्रत रखते हम लोग ना, व्रत होते fast. So you must keep once a week spend fast. That you will not spend anything on that day. So there are this different ways. Spend fast. And then rule of law, transparency and equity. Equity means treating everyone alike. Your actions must be transparent. And rule of law must prevail. Don't flout the rule of law. So these are the principles of environmental governance. So evolution of environmental governance in India, how it has evolved. in this country. 1972, established National Environmental Planning Committee and Pollution Control Board. These are matter of details, date wise. 72 में ये setup हुआ. 76 में 42nd amendment was added, embedding environmental protection in the constitution. So constitution में environment word जो है डाला गया. That is where, so the importance, constitution is our basic, the most important law, you see, or the book. So the environmental sustainability was added. So this was Article 48A and 51AG. What is 51AG? It is, have a look at it. Just now tell me. One thing which I would like to advise all of you, never procrastinate. If you come across it something, do it then, now. I remember a story. After Mahabharat was over, so who became the king? Yudhishthir. So Yudhishthir was holding his darbar and he was sitting on the throne. So one person came who had a grievance, a citizen. And he said, my lord, I have this grievance. Please redress this grievance. He told Yudhishthir. So Yudhishthir said, oh, I'm busy today. Come tomorrow. Kal aana, aaj main vyast hu. The fellow felt very sad. Bhim was sitting there. Bhim को बहुत बुरा लगा कि युधिष्ठिर ने मना कर दिया. Bhim got up and he said, भाइयों और बहनों, ladies and gentlemen, our king Yudhishthir has got victory over Yamdut. Over Yamraj, he has got victory. So Yudhishthir said, what do you mean by this? कि मैं इसको यम पर विजय प्राप्त कर ली. He said, और क्या? आपने उसको कल बुलाया है. आपको पता है कि कल आप जिंदा रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे? Do you know that you will survive tomorrow? If you are so certain that tomorrow you will be there, that means you have got victory over Yamdut. So the Yudhishthir felt very, and he said, call that fellow. I'll solve this problem. So never procrastinate. Article, what were the articles? These two articles, 48A and 51AG. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, correct. So basically, environment, animal life, they deal with these provisions. 1980, the Department of Environment was created and states also created a Department of Environment. I had joined service in 1977. I belong to 77 batch. Within 3 years of my joining, so this department was created at that time. 74 to 86, important laws were enacted. So the Water Act, Air Act, Forest Conservation Act, Environmental Protection Act, they were passed. 1992 introduced environmental policy and mandatory environmental impact assessment for 32 sectors, industries, projects. They made it mandatory. 1996, regulations for coastal zones, hill areas, waste management and public interest litigation for environmental justice. So many PILs were filed and regulations were made for coastal areas which were prone to environmental degradation. Hill areas, because hotel industry, tourism industry was coming in the hills, you were cutting down the trees, degradation of environment of the hilly areas was taking place. Mining activity was going on, rivers were getting polluted. Ganesh Chaturthi ke liye you will immerse all the Ganesha idols in that. For Chhat Puja you will do that. I'm not against any sentiments, any religious thing, But the impact was this. So therefore, there was a need was felt to bring about legislations. And many people went to the Supreme Court to file PILs. What was the name of the person? जो कि सबसे ज़्यादा जिसने PILs पास करी थी for environment? MC Mehta. Yeah. So MC Mehta versus Union of India. The role of judiciary. You know, judiciary plays a very important role in policy making also, like it did in the case of Posh. It did in the case of vehicles moving in the city, in the NCR region. So the judiciary, you remember, judiciary, you know, there are three words which we normally use: judicial activism, judicial overreach, and judicial adventurism. Correct. So, which one you said? Evasion. No. Adventurism, overreach, and activism. So, there were many areas like Upahar Cinema in Delhi. It was burned down because of fire and many people lost their lives. No action was taken, and ultimately the High Court or Supreme Court came down heavily, and the proprietors, they were put behind bars. So PILs have been playing its own part. Judicial activism has been doing it. Happened in COVID also, supply of oxygen cylinders also. So many such situations, judiciary plays an important part in policy making. So MC Mehta versus Union, that addressed industrial pollution in Delhi, balancing environment and workers' rights. Doon Valley case. By the way, tell me, who advocated for the child rights in this country, for which he was awarded Nobel Prize? Kailash Satyarthi. And who was the other person who got Nobel Prize along with Kailash Satyarthi? Malala. What was the purpose for which Malala got? Yes, women education in Pakistan. She fought for that. Okay, the Right to Education Bill in Pakistan was introduced at the instance of Malala. She was the youngest Nobel laureate who addressed the United Nations. Right. Doon Valley case, India's first environmental PIL linking Article 21 right to life with a healthy environment. Ratlam municipality case established a link between right to life under Article 21 and healthy environment. And so on. Vellore and Godavarman, Godavarman case, that was forest, defined the forest. Yes. And MK Ranjit Singh versus Union of India, it expanded Article 14 and 21 to include the right against the adverse effects of climate change. So many judicial pronouncements have come for protecting the environment. And that is why all the stakeholders, we must sit together. Judiciary is playing its own part. Political executive must play its part. Permanent executive must say its part. Civil society must play its part. Stakeholders must play its part. It is stakeholders' participation which will ultimately save the earth. Otherwise, the earth will not be saved. Yeah, you can write down. I will wait for the next slide. Zoom the slide. How do you do that? How do you zoom the slide? Can anyone tell me? Haath se, with the hand. I don't know whether it will work. Maybe it will work. No. There must be some way of, हुआ थोड़ा सा? Or some more? I think it's, is it okay? Yeah. Take. So you can write it down in case I will wait.
Does the vast syllabus of general studies for the UPSC prelims overwhelm you to initiate your preparation for the civil services examination? Is your apprehension and self-doubt coming in the way of your success in joining the civil services? Comprehend your preparation for UPSC Prelims 2025 with the FastTrack course targeting general studies with innovative curriculum, revision and mentorship. Starting from 19th November at 1 p.m., the course offers coverage of UPSC GS Prelims subjects, dedicated mentorship support and guidance for performance maximization, access to PT 365 classes for current affairs preparation, sectional mini tests for regular assessment and performance, personalized student portal to access study material, access to live and online classes. Enroll today and make prelims your stepping stone to proceed to the UPSC mains.
In any case, we will be feeding this information. But PPTs we will be feeding today. Right. Significance of good environmental governance. If there is a good environmental governance, it will lead to social inclusion. Why? Why? Yes. Everyone is entitled to good quality water, good air, all the natural resources. The wealthy people can always get good quality water, Bisleri and air purifiers, but the poor people don't have that. So, inclusivity means taking all the people along. Ratan Tata said beautiful lines. He said, if you want to move fast, go alone. But if you want to move far, they will take everyone along. That is inclusivity, isn't it? So, social inclusion. If there is an good environmental governance, it will lead to social inclusion. Sustainable development. So, aligns with the SDGs. There are many SDGs. The PDF which I am giving to you, that will show you which are the SDGs. Do you remember which SDGs are there? SDGs, it's regarding drinking water. So the SDGs, SDG 6 is clean water, affordable energy, SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, SDG 11, and SDG 13 climate action. So there is SDG 6, 11 and 13. So you will be able to align with the SDGs. And after all, United Nations and its institutions play an important part in the world affairs. In COVID-19, WHO played its important part. UNESCO plays an important part. ILO plays an important part. UNCTAD plays an important part. UNIDO plays an important part. UNEP plays important. All the United Nations institutions, they do a lot of funding also. So, sustainable. So, 6, 11, 13. Global commitments. Supports Panchamrit goals. 500 gigawatt non-fossil energy by 2030. Non-fossil means not dependent on petrol, diesel, coal, kerosene. 45% carbon intensity reduction. If you reduce carbon intensity, what will happen? Greenhouse gases will decrease. Which is that country in the world which is the only country, carbon negative country? Bhutan. I don't know whether you are fond of seeing TED Talks. Any one of you is interested in TED Talks? You must, you have been seeing. TED Talks are very informative talks. So a person who has done something new, creative, innovative, he or she comes on the stage and he addresses 500 or 1,000 people on a particular subject. Be it agriculture, be it environment, be it forest, be it mathematics, be it women empowerment, they talk about it. What is the full form of TED? TED is an acronym. TED. What is the full form? Look at now. TED, what does it mean? Technology. Technology is right. Technology, entertainment and design. Because when the TED platform was started, the subjects on which the speeches, presentations were made were limited to 3 sectors: technology, entertainment, design. But now they have extended it to almost all sectors. The best TED talk on environment I have ever heard is the TED talk given by the Prime Minister of Bhutan. Listen to that. It's almost an hour-long talk. I'm yet to hear a more informative or useful talk. Beautiful. By the Prime Minister of Bhutan. How Bhutan they have developed as, Bhutan constitution provides for compulsory forest cover. Compulsory minimum. And they have prescribed in their constitution something like 60% geographical area must be under forest. And they have actually exceeded that. This is the beauty. They have exceeded that 60% also. Because they are so conscious about environment and clean energy. They give subsidy for the bulbs. What are they called? LED lights, which consume less energy. They give subsidy for the electric vehicles. They give always encouragement for non-fossil fuels. So, global commitments, environmental justice, promote equity with principles like polluter pays and sustainable development. That is why the developing countries now are saying to the developed countries, you have done it. Now you are stopping us, but industrial revolution was brought in Great Britain and it spread to all the countries. The entire pollution was done by you people and you are blaming us, so you pay for that. That is why they said that you create a fund for the sustaining the environment. And human rights to environment upholds the United Nations Declaration of a clean, healthy environment as a universal right. Everyone have a right to breathe clean air. One of the former Secretary Generals of United Nations, his name was Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan. Do you know what he said? He said, problems without passports require solutions without passports. Do you understand the meaning of this? Can anyone tell me? Problems without passports require solutions without passports. Yeah, you said? Huh. So the problems which we are facing now are global. If it happens in one part of the world, it travels to the second part of the world. So the global problems, they are the problems without passports. COVID-19, what are the global problems? Come on, climate change, pandemic, COVID-19, what else? Huh? Desertification, ozone depletion, cyber threats, food security, energy needs, terrorism, lack of of potable water, yes, narcotics, drugs, black money, migration. So these are the global problems. And Kofi Annan said, they don't require passports to travel from one country to another. And therefore, we require solutions without passports. All the countries must sit together and apply their minds to get over the problem, which have become now global. So environment and climate change is a global problem. So steps taken by the government, various laws have been made. Wildlife Protection Act, Air Act, Water Act, Noise Control Act. Institutions like Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. What is CPCB? Central Pollution Control Board. What is NGT? National Green Tribunal. Then policies like National Forest Policy, NAPCC. Correct. Schemes like Namami Gange, Ujjwala Yojana, global collaboration like Paris Agreement, and ISA, what is that? Solar Alliance. So challenges in environmental governance. Number one is governance challenges. Coordination issue. Multiple agencies are involved. Municipal authorities are involved, governments are involved, pollution control boards are involved, state governments are involved, forest, central government is involved, private sector is involved, multiple agencies are involved, therefore coordination. Insufficient funding. So misallocation of funds. Campa funds kisko kehte hain? What are Campa funds? Yeah. So if you have to alternate forest which you have to plant, if you have cut down the trees, so one has to pay money for that. That is Campa funds. So there was some misutilization of Campa funds. So insufficient funding. Policy gaps, lack of unified climate laws hinder a comprehensive governance. So there should be unified laws, but lack of unified laws over the entire world. Therefore, there is a policy gaps. Growth versus sustainability. Reliance on coal conflicts with renewable goals. You can't produce still the energy which is required for the development. Though the Prime Minister came out with the concept of life. What is life? Yes. So we had, for example, ethanol mixing of the petrol, blending. So we have been going towards that, but still thermal power continues to occupy the mainstream because the developmental needs. You have to development. Implementation gap weak. So enforcement and resource limitation obstruct policy execution. So enforcement problems are there. It's difficult. Legal hurdles mein chala jata hai and so on. That is why Namami Gange, because industries were all putting their effluents. So Namami Gange had to be brought in. but then enforcement becomes very, very difficult. People still go by their religious beliefs of putting their near and the people who die, they are put in the Ganges, contributing to the pollution of the Ganges river. There was a time when sewer also used to be pumped into the Ganges. So, enforcement, lack of environmental federalism, state marginalization, limited autonomy in forest management and mining. States have been marginalized. Center is more powerful. Budget constraints. So GST आने के बाद states की revenue mobilization, it has gone down. And financial control has also gone down. Earlier, the state were able to control their revenue, but now the entire revenue goes to the center and then part of it comes back to the states. GST में यही होता है. So the control of the states over their resources or revenue has gone down. Political barriers, delayed decisions and central states conflict. That also results. Sectoral issues. So land management, old revenue laws. So and complicate urbanization. Urbanization is moving so fast. You remember Chennai mein, when the floods came, the reason was that all the ponds where water used to accumulate, the rainwater, they were all filled up and buildings were constructed on that. So there was no way the water could flow. Gurgaon, the same thing has happened here. Now you have floods in Gurgaon. Imagine, we never imagined when I was at joint service, I am from Haryana cadre, we never witnessed these things. But the urbanization has become such because every state governments give lot of money, in terms of revenue from developers. So therefore, the control over development, urbanization is moving so fast without any control. Air pollution, despite monitoring, Delhi की air quality देख लीजिए, इतनी monitoring करते हैं, stubble burning, vehicular movement, construction sites, pollution, the different pollutions are there. So way forward, UNEP principles, United Nations Environment Programme, principles of good governance. Environmental governance must be effective, equitable, responsive and coordinated for sustainability. That is the UNEP principle. Integrated environmental goals. So incorporate environmental goals into sectors like energy, agriculture and transport. Agriculture, transport ka effect you are seeing in Delhi, stubble burning and vehicular movement. So you must incorporate environmental goals into sector like thermal energy, so produce green energy, convert vehicles into electric vehicles, and the agriculture, you must find technology so that farmers do not burn their parali, the stubble. Comprehensive legislation. A climate change law was framed by United Kingdom. Something like that should be brought here also. Environmental federalism. So you must empower the states with resources and data for local climate action plans. The required autonomy must be given to the states to enforce, to bring out climate control laws and empower them to implement them. Strengthen enforcement. So improve law enforcement by enhancing monitoring and accountability. For example, the ministry, the Central Pollution Control Board and the state pollution control boards should become more effective. And public participation, again back to that civil society and stakeholder. So engage community, NGOs and experts in policy making and raise awareness through eco-friendly campaigns. I have got, when I take a session on environmental ethics, I have brought about a 1-month plan for every one of us. that on day 1 you should do this, day 2 you should do this, day 3 you should do this. For example, carry your own bag to the supermarket when you want to purchase something. Don't carry some jute bag. Don't bring the things in a polythene bag. Use cloth made handkerchief rather than tissue papers for wiping your nose and other things. Okay? Switch off the air conditioners when you are leaving the house. While taking bath, use a bucket rather than shower, because then wastage of water is minimized. While shaving, don't keep the running water, the tap should be closed. So there are 30 ways. Every day you can come out with some new thing in order to safeguard the natural resources, that is water and energy. So let me come to the last one, that is digital.